Unlimited. This is going to be a very brief thing on Unlimited. Just over 10 years ago, 7 organisations, very large charities, got together and set up a new organisation called Unlimited to put in a bid that took advantage of some unspent lottery money under the old Millennium Commission, under the term social entrepreneurship. And Unlimited was a new charity formed 10 years ago last February, and we are the sole distribution body of what's called the Millennium Award Trust Deed, a sum of, at that time, £100 million, which is, in technical terms, a perpetual endowment. We're not a spend-out endowment, to help and support social entrepreneurs. Unlimited is now the leading provider of support to social entrepreneurs in the UK, and has the largest network in the world. We've actually just opened offices. We're just about to go into America. We've got Unlimited Japan, China, Thailand, India. It's not a big thing, to be honest, because there's not many other organisations helping and supporting social entrepreneurs, so don't think we're a massive organisation. We support thousands of individuals each year through our Core Awards programme. We offer, I think, a unique model directly to individuals, a complete package of resources from funding to advice, networking and practical support. My normal speech, I will then bore you with evidence and evaluation of 10 years' work, how this approach has been effective, numbers we've helped, how we support them. But I'm not going to burden you with that today. If you want to find out any more information, please check out our website. There's lots of reports on there, www.unlimited.org.uk. If you've got anybody in your community that you think could match criteria, then please contact Sam, who's here from Unlimited, and speak to her on the finer detail. Today, though, I'm going to touch on something not that we've done over the last 10 years, but it's almost a request to you of what we potentially can do to go forward in Wales. And I think to do this, I think we start to actually be a little bit honest and dismiss some of the myths that have been ingrained in our thinking and processes. I will go off script with a caveat, just like my Twitter comments that say, these are my own reflections after spending 30 years in the social sector in Wales, and they are not necessarily shared by others. And to be honest, I suspect they're not necessarily shared by my employers as well. Myth 1, social entrepreneurs. If I had a cake for every meeting I'd been to that had discussed social entrepreneurs and defining what they are, I wouldn't be here today. I'd have my own patisserie. I've sort of reflected on that, because I think I should say, if I had a prawn cracker for every meeting I've attended, because there's obviously a great demand here in Wales for Chinese restaurants, so that's a much better business idea. A common myth is that a social entrepreneur is someone who sets up and runs a social enterprise. For us, if a venture is meeting the needs of the community and a social issue, then why do we have to get so paranoid about the governance structure in which those people operate? Hindsight is a great thing. And I look back over my 9 years with Unlimited, meeting absolutely wonderful individuals from across the length and breadth of Wales. And I think I've probably been doing the job wrong. If you have an entrepreneurial idea, I'd probably sit down with you for an hour. The first half an hour we'd be discussing you, because you're very important as the entrepreneur. And probably the second half an hour discussing perhaps what your idea is. They're 2 very important points. But actually, it's just as important to focus down on what the social need is, how are you going to address that, and what social impact you're going to have. But equally as important, and unlike a lot of organisations that we're now working on this, I want to know your revenue model, and I want to know where your income streams are coming from. So that basically we are not setting up people to potentially fail in the future because they go on that gravy train of grant applications that rely on others and you have no control over. We all know the grant system is dying back all the time, and we need the entrepreneurs to think about their income generation as much equal to their social impact. I think maybe Unlimited itself has placed too much on the social without focusing on the entrepreneurship, and that's something that we need to look forward to. Myth 2, social enterprise itself. Social enterprise can provide all the solutions to the problems in developing a strong and vibrant social economy to take the UK forward. Or many would have us believe. It's the buzzword. And so many discussions are taking place in defining social enterprise and what it is and the role it can play. I think if I had, or I was going to say if I had a cake, but I've done that line already. Social enterprise is just one option for social entrepreneurs, but it is one of many. I fear that we will be developing more support agencies, organisations and more funded individuals to support social enterprises than the need dictates. And I've been here before, mainly in the youth sector, where I often used to say there's more people actually helping young people now in the youth sector than there are young people here in Wales that we have to support. And I've been here before that there's a lot of organisations will be jumping on the social enterprise ticket that allows their own bandwagon to continue whilst Billy Smith of Prestatyn still struggles to find the relevant support and help. Myth 3, partnership. In Wales, we are a small country, and there's that famous thing of 6 degrees of separation. There's probably in Wales only 2 degrees of separation. Thus, we work effectively together in partnership at an organisational level. I think the first statement is true. There is only 2 degrees of separation, and that should be a strength. But it is a myth that we work effectively together at an organisational level. I'll speak about myself. A little bit of honesty. Whenever I hear a meeting or a conference is going on which talks about partnership, co-production, cooperation, I am, or have been, going there to see what others are up to so I can bang in a bid myself. And if there's a potential to work with other organisations that I could get more money, that's what I'll do. And that can't be right. It's the classic, if anybody's aware of, the classic prisoner's dilemma. I'm glad to say that when I joined Unlimited, I was not prepared to do this, as it was not, I don't believe, morally or value-led. I am happy, therefore, that in Wales, under my leadership, our staff team hasn't grown at all. I'm not looking to build a huge organisation to say, look at me, what a great person I am. I have now 42 members of staff and actually not achieving as much as I did when I had 3. Partnership for me is about supporting others to undertake their work as well. The most technical thing I could say, I think my wife and myself have a very effective partnership. I had my wallet stolen in London this week, and I had to go into the bank and realise when the bank was asking me questions that I had no idea what the finances were and what bank accounts we had. My wife deals with it. Similarly, I'm a modern man, I do all the ironing. And we have an agreement. We don't overlap, but we'll support each other in whatever thing we're doing. And I think there needs to be more of that. If there's an organisation doing good work, we should be supporting them and not looking to undercut them in actually trying to do something ourselves to build our own organisations. Myth 4. Vision, or a lovely word I like, which is sagacity. Sagacity. Somebody once said sagacity is not a place where older people go on holiday to an urban setting. And I've often banged on in Wales that we lack leadership and vision. I think I'm wrong. There are plenty of leaders and plenty of visionary ideas on how we can make our country prosperous. It's just that I think we are leading in the wrong direction because we're starting off from the wrong place. Sagacity defines foresight on recognising where we are now, but the foresight of what the place could look like in 5 or 10 years' time. Simply put, if you knew 10 years ago what you know today, what would you be doing differently? Is putting your mindset in 10 years' time and making those decisions today. We'll never invent a time machine, but it's putting people's mindsets in a different place. And therefore we have to question our own assumptions and also what we believe is true. Because the way we are currently doing things is blatantly not working. You know the figures. You see the educational figures. You see the health figures in Wales. I mean, there was one I picked out even this week, figures published by the HMRC, which basically says the statistic. I quote Iestyn Davies here, the head of external affairs at the Federation of Small Businesses. The statistics released by the HMRC Thursday, I think they were released, underline the problems of the Welsh economy. Despite Wales having 4.9% of the UK population, our nation generates only 3.1% of UK income tax receipts and a mere 1.6% of capital gains tax receipts. We therefore, in his words, desperately need to see a greater focus on improving the Welsh economy. Now, that statement from him was also used then as an advocate for fiscal devolution. And I'm certainly not advocating or not. I'm non-political. So, but we do need to do things differently, and we need to do them now. What we have done regarding entrepreneurial development is blatantly not working, and we need to change the mindset in going forward. So what can be done? It is my belief that we need a new framework for going forward. A new direction starting from a different starting position. One that learns from the past, obviously, but has the foresight to take the future, taking into account the prevailing trends of what the world could look like in 10 years' time, and allowing for, anybody who's read his books, the Nicholas Taleb Black Swans. We cannot and do not wish to force people to change. But by getting behind a common cause that we can agree on, we can at least start a journey to what I see as Wales as being, and that's an exemplar model to the rest of the world in terms of social justice, equality, fairness, environmental sustainability, health, education, and much more ambitiously that Wales actually win the Rugby World Cup as well. I was, funny enough, I was lying on a beach on my summer holidays in Ibiza, and stranger things I read on holiday, but I was reading a lovely tale of a gentleman called Paul O'Neill, who transformed the fortunes of one of the largest aluminium companies in the world, which was Alcoa. It's a very interesting tale if you want to hear it, and basically because he just focused on one thing. And he focused on one thing that everybody could agree on. It happened to be health and safety. And by doing that, he managed to change the whole organisation because he got them behind one thing. So why I'm here today, over the past few months, I've had numerous discussions and meetings with various parties on how we could do this. And I think the strapline we're currently using is to develop Wales into a vibrant. I've nicked the vibrant one from another document I believe is going round. I've got rid of the word viable because I think if it's vibrant, you don't need viable as well, but there we go. That's me being pedantic. So to develop Wales into a vibrant and prosperous place to live and work through development of a venture economy driven by social entrepreneurs. I've used a few trendy words there, and although you might not agree with everything I've said before, I think we can all agree we want a vibrant and prosperous Wales. I think we can all agree that we need a more entrepreneurial economy, and all I'm saying is those entrepreneurs should have at least a thought of their social impact within their business sense as much as their income generation. I have a few guilty pleasures, which most of them I can't share with you today, but one of them is my Thursday night's viewing is to sit down with a can and lager, and my wife goes to bed because she knows I turn into Victor Meldrew and I rant at BBC Question Time. And I ranted, again, not being non-political, I usually end up ranting with everybody. And it was interesting, if anybody watched it this week, I think a very interesting discussion between all the parties and others about, for example, David Cameron's speech last week about cutting benefits for the under-25s. The interesting thing is everybody was talking about jobs. We need to create jobs, but the discussion wasn't about creating jobs at all. So who are going to create these jobs? And that is why a limited approach of looking more at the income generation that we can actually make not just social good, but also job creation, can play a part. So in a way, this has been a start of a new way for Unlimited to be thinking. The discussions I've had, I've been very fortunate to meet people like Lynn, people like Lee, who's here from Asian Capital, that we can actually work together on putting together or starting a journey together to make positive change. I like to say the journey, it's almost like the Fellowship of the Ring. We have a common cause, we don't yet have a clear map, and we also don't know what each one of us, what each role we can play in getting to that cause. So I've almost described it as, look, we're getting on a bus and to achieve an objective for a better Wales. So it's almost like a Lord of the Rings on public transport, if you like. But I am adamant that, given the myths, I hope that I've tried to dispel, that there are 4 clear criteria for bus membership. I think Richard put a lovely side up about values and morals. That the people on the bus share the same values and morals, that believes in access for all, that believes in equality, believes in fairness, and let's be honest, let's have a little bit of trust and honesty between the partners involved as well. The second thing for membership is that we are prepared to break down some silos that have been created here in Wales, so that we can learn from each other across the public, the private, the third sector. Thirdly, that we develop structures and processes that put the needs of the entrepreneur, the driver first, and not necessarily our own views or actually the individual needs of the organisation. Let's do what's right for Wales, not just what is good for our own organisation. And again, Richard was saying about the community planning process. Let's build up a pyramidal structure that starts at the community, that we can take entrepreneurs who are doing fantastic work in an entrepreneurial fashion in the community and take them on a journey, and potentially they can be the next Richard Branson. They can be the next Alan Sugar. They can be the next big entrepreneurs, because we need them as well. That's the general overview. As I said, the map isn't exactly clear. Please don't ask me too many detailed questions on it. But I believe that we all have a role to play in this. You, within your communities, know of people. Let's work together how we can reach out, and let's work how we can best support them. And I'm delighted to be working with One Voice Wales in developing that better way to go forward. Thank you.